It's not a chunk of cornbread. Some people call it a slice of cornbread. The old folks call it a pound of cornbread.
Do you know that I have friends who they say it's bad luck to cut cornbread?
Oh, is that right?
When you have the,
You're supposed to tear it up?
You're supposed to break it off and tear it off. They will not cut cornbread.
Well, I know a fellow by the name of Sam Spear that says you're supposed to pick up the whole thing, stuff it in your mouth.
Yeah, that's probably about right, too. You see what's left from yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, how much cornbread have you ever eaten in your life?
Oh, me. A few pounds, maybe a few tons.
I grew up eating cornbread, and I didn't know there was any other kind of bread other than biscuits. And I mean, we had cornbread for lunch, we had cornbread for, we had cornbread for dinner, we had cornbread for supper.
Yeah, and a lot of places think that's really weird because they never heard of cornbread.
I know, and then you have cornbread for dessert because you put it in milk. Did you ever put it in milk?
Yeah.
In sweet milk? Put it in sweet milk, put a little more sugar. Now, some people like it in buttermilk, but I never.
Sugar?
Put a little more sugar, and a little bit more sugar, and make it a little sweeter, sort of like a pudding.
Oh,
Did you ever?
Yeah, my dad liked it in buttermilk.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I had some friends over yesterday, and they were telling me that they had a friend that put their purple whole peas in their milk with their bread.
Oh, me.
Never done that.
No, I never tried that.
Well, I'm going to tell you about a way to use cornbread that I bet you've never thought of, because I grew up in Arkansas and I'd never heard of this either till I got to visiting my friend Zoe and I. When we get together, we talk a lot about cooking.
Is this Zoe?
This is Zoe. And we got to talking about this one day and about cornbread. And of course, you know, she has War Eagle meal and she grinds all that meal, so she's into that cornbread and stuff.
Sure.
Well, she said, have you ever had cornbread salad? Have you ever had cornbread salad?
Never had cornbread salad.
I had never had cornbread salad either and never heard of it. What you want to do first is have one little pan of cornbread.
As you can tell, this did not just now come out of the oven.
Nope, you can use cornbread mix if you want to, but try to use stone ground cornmeal. Even if you use cornbread mix, it just gives it a much better texture than that degerminated stuff that you get in the grocery store. Now, you can, if you're lucky like me and you have cornbread left over from the night before, you can use one small one or about a half of one of these.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you do. Now you're going to take this cornbread and you're going to crumble it up just like you're making
that
dressing.
Looks like fun.
And it looks like, well, just get your hands in here and crumble up a little bit.
That's sort of the hand equivalent of grape stomping, isn't it?
Now, you know, if you make cornbread dressing at Thanksgiving, you're going to know how to do this, but all you're going to do is just crumble that cornbread up and then set it aside. Now you're thinking, then we take about 4 tomatoes that we've chopped up. In that, we're going to mix in a bunch of green onions that you've sliced, 1 bell pepper, and then a bunch of radishes. Mix those all up in the bowl. And the reason you're mixing these up in the bowl rather than just mixing them directly in that bowl is because you don't want to stir that cornbread an awful lot, because it can get, it's kind of tender, but it will not get soggy.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
No, I knew that was going to be your question. Then you put about 2/3 of a cup of sweet pickles. You've chopped up. Mix all that up in a bowl. Then just dump that in this big bowl. Yeah. Just like that. Then mix that up. Then you've taken about 10 slices, 10 rashers of bacon.
Rashers?
A rasher is a slice of bacon or ham that's to be cooked. Put that in there. Yeah. Mix that around. Just stir that in look, isn't it pretty? I mean, it's beautiful already.
It sure is.
And I'm telling you, we are almost finished with this.
Okay.
But then we're going to set that aside. We're going to get this bowl, and you're going to use a little 8-ounce jar of mayonnaise. Which is about a cup, I think.
The whole works, huh?
The whole jar.
Whole works.
Put it in this bowl right here. Just like that. Then you're going to add the sweet pickle juice from the pickles that you chopped up. Put it in here, and you just want it just till it gets to where it's sort of like a salad dressing consistency. See? Yeah. And you just kind of have to decide about your taste, how much you want in that.
Well, that's going to be interesting.
Then
that'll be special.
It will be special. You just mix that up, pour that over it, and you're going to stir it up just like you do coleslaw.
You wouldn't serve the salad dressing on the side? No. You got to go in it.
Because let me tell you, this is one of those things that the more it sets up, the better it gets. You mix that up just like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, not only is it tasty, and it's really better the next day, you know, after you.
That looks good.
He's ready.
That was only a cornbread breadcrumb.
Is he ready or what?
That looks good.
Okay. Here, you taste this. While you're tasting it, I'll tell the folks how to do it.
All right.
You
Eat it with a spoon?
Eat it with a spoon, eat it with a fork, eat it with your hands if you want to, because you're going to like it.
If my nose wasn't so long.
That's right. Take a small pan of cornbread and you're going to crumble that up in a bowl. Then in another bowl, you're going to chop about 4 tomatoes, a bunch of green onions, a green pepper, a bunch of radishes, and then about 2/3 of a cup of sweet pickles. Chop all that up, put that in a separate bowl, and then take about 10 pieces of bacon and brown those just to the point where you can crumble them up. Then set that aside. To add all your vegetables into your cornbread, mix that around, put the bacon in there, mix that around. Then you take a small jar of mayonnaise, or about a cup of mayonnaise, and mix just enough sweet pickle juice in that mayonnaise to make it where you can pour it.
Amazing thing is you can taste every ingredient in there.
Right. But it's cornbread. I had never heard of this in my life until Zoe told me about it, and then I started researching it, and it's a great recipe to take with you when you go camping. Just remember, what I do is when I go camping, I make it up at home, put it in a Ziploc bag, but be sure, because it has mayonnaise in it, so be sure to keep it real cool. But it's real good because you can just dip out of it. It's great with barbecues.
This is good.
It's great with, you know, with hamburgers. It's great with soups, but you try it. Cornbread salad, not only is it a real pretty dish, by golly, it tastes good too, doesn't it?